Hi. Alright, so today's video is going to be a little longer than some of the videos I've been making recently because I really want to drill down into how to lose weight. It's a very common request from people, is one of the most sought after goals when someone starts a fitness journey. It's also one of the most common failed goals. People tend to repeat it over and over again, or they'll lose weight, gain it back, and kind of get on this treadmill. So I kind of want to drill down on a bunch of the information that you already know, most likely, with some stuff maybe you haven't considered. Either way, at the end of this video, if you actually do, choke through listening to me babble for 15 minutes or so, or however long it ends up, hopefully it gives you the full amount of info that you could possibly get to achieve it. And it's just in your hands at that point, right? So I have some notes here so I don't forget anything. And I want to start from the very basic. You've made the decision, right? So you say, I'm going to lose weight. I just had another idea. First, you have to understand that you can lose weight. That sounds weird, maybe, but you have to understand, you have to believe that it's possible, because if you don't believe it's possible, you're much more likely to sabotage yourself or look for some confirmation bias that maybe you have a slip-up day and you're like, I knew it. Or maybe the weight doesn't fall off as fast as you like and you let that become a reason to be depressed or sad about it and slide. So you have to understand your body is a chemical compound. You are the result of calories in versus calories spent. And it is impossible to not lose weight at a certain point. Genetics, they do matter. Your genetics may help or hinder that goal. For some people, it could take a lot longer. For some people, it could be a lot quicker. But one way or another, it is achievable. And if you don't think it's achievable, you've already messed up the first step. So the first thing I would like for anyone trying to get on a weight loss journey to understand is that it can happen, no matter how overweight you are, no matter how out of shape you are. Which kind of brings me to a second point real quick. This is going to be general advice. So I'm not going to be giving exact workouts. There's only one thing I'm going to say that you should do, and there's a really simple basic thing. So you're not going to be doing push-ups or pull-ups, but I will say that resistance training mixed in with a weight loss goal will pay dividends. But I don't know who's listening to this that might have an injury in their shoulders or knees or whatever the case might be. So I want this to be as inclusive as possible. The entire point of this is to calories in versus calories out. It is just to burn weight. You're not going to get super strong or buff on this. This is just to burn fat. Which brings me to the next goal. Next point. Set a goal. I just want to lose weight is very open-ended. It doesn't set a hard beginning and a hard end. So you can't hit a target you haven't defined. So instead of I just want to look better in my clothes, you have to understand that you always have a bias. When you look in that mirror, you see what you want to see sometimes, and you're often going to be your own harshest critic. And if you're achieving your goal, sometimes you won't allow yourself to see that. It's a very common problem. And it's only when you've taken a before picture and an after picture that you can sometimes realize how far it is along that journey you've taken. So first off, set a goal. I want to lose, 10 pounds in a set amount of weeks, Generally speaking, 20 pounds seems to be a generally popular goal. Give yourself around 2 to 3 months to do it. Pick something reasonable. Obviously, the harder you work, usually the faster you'll get your goal, but not always. So pick something, and I'm going to help you set that goal, but pick something that's doable for you. Let me check those off. So once you've set your goal, you have to kind of get a starting point. I will highly recommend you take a photo of yourself. Like I just said, we're not always the best judges of our own image. What we have up here doesn't always match what the world sees. So take a before picture. It could be as private as you want it to be. I highly recommend that you do it from several angles and you do it as close to naked or naked as possible. And don't try and censor it. Don't be sad or ashamed or angry. This is a reference point for you that as you proceed along the process, you will see progress, and it will help remind you of how far you've come when you have one of those days, because we all have them. Now we have to worry about how many calories it takes. So, like I said earlier, your weight is how many calories are you eating versus how many calories are you burning. And if you're burning more calories than you're eating over the course of a week or so, your body will start to consume as reserve fuels, which is your body fat. So you're going to want to get either a good app on your phone or go to a website. It's pretty easy to look up calorie calculators and put in the information. You want to weigh yourself. Get that starting weight down, write it down, write down the date you're starting. I highly recommend that you take this weight first thing in the morning. So Mondays are a popular starting point. Monday morning, before you've eaten, before you've done anything else, strip down, get on the scale, record that number. Then get into an app. I personally like using MyFitnessPal. It's free. It has a really big database of foods, and that's going to be very important for you coming up. And then let's you set a goal. It's going to ask you your height, your weight, your gender, how much weight you want to lose or gain within a certain period of time, and your activity level. I'm going to tell you now, I would highly recommend. It tells you can go to, I think, up to 2 pounds a week. Set the target to lose 0.5 pounds a week, half a pound a week. That is realistic. It's healthy. You don't want to crash diet. You're absolutely not going to starve yourself, because that's a quick way to fail at the goal ultimately, and a really quick way to malnourish yourself. And the goal is to live a happier life, not a more miserable one. So half a pound a week is a good, solid, healthy fat burning cycle. It's not crash dieting. You won't walk away saying I lost 30 pounds in a week, but that shouldn't be your goal. It should be a sustainable, I'm changing my life patterns goal. So half a pound a week. When it comes to activity level, it's going to ask if you're very active, lightly active, barely active. It's very important that you're honest with this goal, with this data. A lot of us tend to think we're either more active than we actually are. MyFitnessPal has sample professions listed as lightly active if you're a salesperson, if you're standing around all day. A lot of people have Fitbits that tells them how many steps they take, and they think that equals, a certain exertion level, and it doesn't. Your 10,000 steps of one day don't necessarily match the 10,000 steps another. It's a non-metric. So you want to really give yourself a good gauge of what your activity level is. And set that info in there, and it's going to tell you how many calories you should be eating a day. Your job now, from that point until your goal, is that you will record everything you eat. If you can't record it, don't eat it. And I know that sounds like such a hard wall, it's a really hard stance to take, but sometimes that's required. And I promise over time it gets easier. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to always have to track every single thing you eat. But when you're first taking this on, it needs to be important. You cannot allow yourself to slide. You cannot give yourself leeway. You have to commit and say, I am doing this, and you just record it. The first couple days you might shock yourself. You might be way over that caloric target or way under that caloric target. You don't want to be either. If you're overeating by hundreds of calories, you're building up reserves, and you're going to gain weight. If you're massively undereating, you're going to get very unhealthy, and your body's going to go into what's called starvation mode, which means that it's going to hold on to as much of the food as possible, if that makes sense. You don't get very efficient. It's a very bad way to try and lose weight. Eat the target. Go for the target. If it says 1,900 calories, you want to be around there. One thing it lets you record, but it doesn't actually hold you to, is water. You can record how much water you're drinking a day. Now, There's some contention with water. I think a lot of people have heard the drink a gallon of water a day. That's very general. How tall you are, how heavy you are, short, how active, how your body processes things. These all factor into how much water you should be drinking a day. However, if you're barely drinking water, if you're drinking mostly sodas, which you should cut out completely, if you're drinking like half a cup a day, you know that you're not hydrated enough. I've said it before in another video. I've said it to countless clients, and I'm going to say it again here. There's only one thing that your body absolutely cannot respond to, it can't adapt to, and that's dehydration. If you're dehydrated, your cells simply can't repair. It's in the repair that makes you stronger and is required for healthy fat burning. Drink a lot of water. You'd be surprised how much weight you drop off really quickly sometimes by just increasing how much water you're drinking. It means a lot, and it cannot be overlooked. It just cannot be. So increase your water intake. I will warn you a couple things. If you're not drinking a lot of water at first and you start drinking a lot, you will probably urinate a lot. You'll find yourself running to the bathroom, and it will seem like that water is just coming right out. It's coming out clear, and you're barely absorbing it. That's normal. Keep at it. Your body will get the message, and you'll start holding on to that water more, and you won't be passing it quite as much, and life becomes more livable when you're not running to the bathroom every 20 minutes. But just grunt through those first couple days, because it does get better, and you have to always have that hope, always have that knowledge that it will improve. Not maybe, not improves for everybody except you. It will improve. Track consistently and honestly. And I know I already said that. I already said make sure that if you can't count it, you don't eat it. But also don't eat something and don't put it down, and be like, yeah, that wasn't much. If you're not tracking it, you're again already failing the goal. You're setting yourself up for failure, and you're going to go through all this effort and discomfort just to throw it all away and be disappointed. And again, confirmation bias. I knew I couldn't do it. And again, you're going to be paying a bunch of money to do it, have someone yell at you, or whatever the case might be. Ultimately, you're responsible for your own actions. It's just you. No one else is spying on you. If you go over or under a day, put it in front of you. Put it in the paper. Put it in the app. Watch it. Adjust your behaviors accordingly. So I said that there was only one exercise I was going to say to do, and that's walking. So again, don't tell me how great CrossFit was for you for getting them pounds off, or running races was fantastic. Yeah, I know I'm wearing the shirt, but like everyone's different. Every human body is different, and there's a lot of injuries, a lot of medical reasons out there, and I'm really reticent to just recommend general exercises to people because it may not work for everybody, and somebody might actually get hurt, do it incorrectly, whatever the case may be. Our goal here is simply to burn calories. That's it. So walk. Walk for around 40 minutes to an hour every 4 to 6 days a week. Something up there. And you don't have to run. In fact, I highly recommend you don't, especially if you're trying to lose weight. Running is a really good way to get injured. And I often maintain, and I enjoy running. I do. I don't love it, but I like it when I do it. And I'm telling you, it's not a good way to lose weight. You should only really run if you want to get better at running or something related to running, if you're like a soccer player or if you like doing obstacle course races. But walk, and briskly. It shouldn't be a lazy walk. It shouldn't be super comfortable. You don't have to be power walking, but walk as if you're running late to work and you're trying to hurry up, but you don't want to look silly. Walk with purpose, You don't have to be on the treadmill. Step outside your front door, walk in one direction for 30 minutes, flip around, walk back home. That's all it takes. And you'll find it's easier and easier to do that. And if you're already telling me how you don't have time or you can't, like it just doesn't fit into your schedule, you've messed up, and I don't believe you. We all have the same 24 hours a day, and we make our choices about how we spend it. So if this goal is important to you, you'll find the time. You'll make it happen. Do not weigh yourself daily. And that might be hard for a lot of people because, You want to see that progress. You want to see the number going down. But your body shifts weight all day. If you hopped on the scale 24 every hour on the hour, you'll probably have 24 different numbers, even if there's slight variances. Don't. Pick that day. If you did it on Monday, every Monday morning, weigh yourself. Jot it down in a log somewhere. Go about your day. Some days it will plateau. Sometimes you might even see your weight go up a little. Don't freak out. That's also normal. Your body weight will fluctuate. What you're looking for is progress over time, not over a short, burst. So don't weigh yourself daily. You will get into a neurotic pattern, and it won't do anything positive for you except discourage and constantly make you feel bad. Don't. Keep positive. I think that's the most important part of all of this. Keep hope alive. Make sure you realize, I can do this. It may be uncomfortable. It may take longer than you may have wanted. Maybe you don't lose the number you expected to lose. Maybe you say 15 pounds over several weeks and you only lose 10. So, right? That's okay. You have to keep a positive mindset. Your body you will be the thing you think. And if you're constantly thinking, I fail at this, I can't possibly, I won't, I can't, you're going to be right. So stop that. Think of what it is you want to do and why you want to do it. And I guess that's what I'm going to kind of go out on. Why? Why are you trying to lose weight? That matters a lot. And I'll tell you right now, 9 times out of 10, in my experience, if it's to look better, I don't like the way I look. You looked in the mirror the one day and something just hit hard and you're like, what, screw it. I want to lose X amount of pounds. That's usually not a strong enough reason. And that's one of the reasons why weight loss is one of the most abandoned goals. Think about your health. Think about things that affect your life in a day-to-day. A lot of parents, when they have young children, they realize they can't keep up with them. A lot of people have diabetes in their genes, in their family. And, you'll die young. A lot of people have one of my parents died young from heart disease and diabetes. And, it runs in my family. And if I don't pay attention to it, I'm out early. You need to think about things like that. Think about the example you're setting for your children. Your children may not be good at what you're telling them, but they will emulate you. They will. And if you're setting them up with unhealthy habits now, you might feel regret for that in the future. Whatever the goal, it fell. Whatever the goal is, I'm not going to edit that either. Whatever the goal is, it needs to be a strong enough one to kind of carry you through the days where nothing seems to have changed, where you're eating a bunch of food and you feel bloated, where you miss something that you used to eat a lot. Don't punish yourself for food. If you make it a punishment, if you think I'm bad for eating that, you're negatively reinforcing a bad experience, and you're going to want to stop your new lifestyle as soon as possible. Accept what your habits are and adjust accordingly to kind of meet your goals. And if you do have a slip-up day, it's not the end of the world. Recognize it, accept that you chose to do that, and fix it. So hopefully that's everything. I mean, it's pretty simple. Is, like I said, calories in, out versus activity. And that will get you there. Consistency over time. You just have to keep at it. If you have any questions for me, as always, feel free to reach out. If you just want to yell at me because you have the world's best workout program, cool. If it works for you, great. But this is for the person. I'm gonna keep going, aren't I? I'm a little bit more. This is for mostly the people that repeat that goal over and over. You already know how to do it 9 times out of 10. I can personally attest to you, the first coaching job I ever had was at a weight loss clinic at a local gym. Really good gym. But I can tell you today, there are people doing that program over again. After having done it numerous times, they're rechasing that same goal. It's not that they're losing another X amount of weight. They've gained it back, sometimes past that point, and they're trying to lose it again. It's not information that's the problem. I think almost everybody knows eat less, move more. It really just comes down to that. Identify what your triggers are. Find a why or a reason that will stick. And then fucking do it. And at a certain point, it all just comes down to that. Did you fucking do it? And if you keep falling off the wagon and then shrugging and whining and saying, I don't know why, I don't know why, neither does anyone else. You need to sit down, write down your goals, look at where you stumble, understand or figure out why it is that you stumble, and get back up again. Because if all you do is keep complaining that you stumble, you're not going to get better, and no one's going to be able to do it for you. So, move more, eat less, fucking do it. You guys have a good one.